Hello, and welcome to the Cosmic Healing Podcast. It's February. Oh my gosh. Hi, Dana.
Hi, Vaughn. The month of love, the month of self-love. I'm excited to
Oh,
see what the cards have to say for
I'm
February.
so excited to hear what these cards have to say. I'm kind of laughing at this whole year already. Like, it's like, what is time, right? Because some
Oh,
people are like, this has been the longest month ever. And some people are like, this is the fastest month. For me, I feel like this was a really fast month. So fast that you messaged me and you're like, hey, when do you want to do the February episode? And I was like, oh, next week is fine. And you're like, and I look at my calendar and I'm like, February 1st is Saturday. I'm like, okay. So here we are, rearranged this week's schedule so that this can be piping hot for you today on this Friday, the day before February 1st. And I feel like we're like really in real time because again, like what is time? I
what
think that that's where we're going into this new world of illusions and timelines. And it's like I mean, I literally am like, what is time?
what is time? And see, I'm the opposite of you. I feel like it's been a very slow month. And yet somehow February crept up on me too. Like I wasn't conscious that the month was ending, but it just felt like, I don't
It
know.
felt long, but then all
Felt
of a sudden it's
long.
like over.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it felt like to me. I don't know, but January and February always feel long to me. I have a tough time in the winter. So this is just that's just maybe it's
Well,
like
what's
I make
what's
it.
so exciting, I think, is like the other night I took my dogs out to the park, and usually I take them around, 5,
Yeah.
and it's sun is setting like around 5:30. And I was able to go out and it was like 6 and
Yes.
6:30 and the sun wasn't even setting yet. And I was like, spring is
Yes.
coming. I'm so excited. But I don't know. There's just something this year definitely feels incredibly different energetically. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we just had the Lunar New Year. This is the year of the snake, which is so exciting, because of the connection to the divine feminine, the Kundalini energy,
Yes.
the mother, all that stuff that I didn't even put all that together because I've kept saying, like, this is the year of the mother, the mother, the mother, the mother. And I didn't even know why. But then when I felt into the energy of the snake, I'm like, oh, duh, of course, that's why. Like,
Of
it's
course.
it's literally a year of Kundalini energy and awakening and cultivating this masculine and feminine energy within so that we can just be the powerhouses that we are here to be.
Oh,
And I was thinking, like I was doing a little story about this the other day, and I was saying like the snake is obviously about the shedding and, the letting go and the purging. And this is a 9 year, a year of completion. So it's really like we are here to shake off. Like this is the year because going into 26 and 27, things are going to be completely different because I keep hearing more and more people that I really admire and respect, their connection to spirit and channeling, that like 2032, we won't even recognize this world.
oh my gosh, I've heard that too. I've heard that too.
Yeah. So, and I remember I did that podcast, over the summer with Diana Cooper. And she's the one when she said, put out that timeline very specifically saying 2032 is that's when we will be in the golden age. But we're creating it now. Like we are letting go of all the density. And that's why more than ever, showing up for shit to actually purge, to actually let go, to be in community with other women, with other people, of being like, oh, this is what we're holding on to. Let's just let go of this right here, right now. I mean, so much is happening and opportunities are arising because more and more people are getting excited and curious. We're all going through deep layers of spiritual awakening, like wherever you're at on your awakening journey, we're just expanding that even more. And there's these waves of people that are coming through, like us. We're here to help the next wave, and then the next wave is going to help the next wave, and then that's going to take time. But by 2032, apparently, we all going to be,
Something.
something like that. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on all that?
And I wanted to remind everyone too of the 2025 year ahead episode that I did, and you posted about it in um,
Yes.
the podcast Facebook group. And I've been meaning to comment on there and reiterate, but the big thing that I want everybody to remember is like, I pulled that tsunami card for 2025, and I know that this feels like a very scary card to get. People do not like getting this card. Um, I actually wrote this card as my version of the Tower from Tarot, if you are familiar with Tarot. And this card, I just want to remind you, this is about the collapsing of something, the changing of something on such a radical level that we won't recognize it anymore. But the whole purpose of this, the whole purpose of the Tower card, the whole purpose of the Tsunami card, the whole purpose of whatever 2025 is to bring, is to get us in better alignment. It is an opportunity to get rid of what's not working. And so, yeah, while that might feel scary of like, well, what's not working and what's going to be gone because we want to hold on to what we know, if we can let this go and surrender, it's going to be so much easier. So, so, so much easier, right? And the other cards that I got were the Pisces cards, I think, and Deep Ocean.
Deep
And
ocean.
this is like the rise of the light worker. Like, to
Yeah.
be centered, we have to be grounded, we have to go within ourselves. That is how we will get through this tsunami, is by going inward. And people are going to look to us, whether you have a spiritual business or not. People are going to look to you as someone who is awake and open, as someone they can go to of like, help me through this. So we have to be ready with what centers and grounds us to help other people. I really believe that firmly for this year.
Absolutely. I can't tell you how many times I have felt, how many times, especially the tsunami and the deep ocean card have supported me because the tsunami is that happening, like there is a lot of storms and like craziness happening above us, right? Like it's happening. And you can either get caught up in the storm, get caught up in the drama. I see several women and women that I have worked with pretty closely. I see them losing their shit over everything that is happening, especially politically. And obviously with the fires and everything, but they are like getting caught up in it. It is taking their emotion and their energy away. And I'm just like, oh, come on now, like let's go under that water, right? Like I just loved in that episode the way you described it with, when the waves are going crazy above you, when a wave comes, like when you're a little kid, well, not a little kid, I do it all the time. Anytime I'm with waves,
Even as an adult,
you
yes.
hold your nose and you go under and you let the waves crash over you. I have that visualization all the time, Dana. Like that was those cards just spoke. Those that episode you did was powerful. So if you have not listened to the 2025 year in review, highly 10 out of 10, go listen to it. If you did listen to it again because it'll be fresh and it'll mean even more to you now. But it is an incredible imagery. I mean, you're holding that card. I mean, that's it right there. We've got to be able to go deep within, under the water, let the storms happen, and us maintain our own energy. We cannot get caught up in this bullshit because the bullshit be happening. It doesn't, I'm not trying to say that your voice doesn't matter, but if you get caught up in it and you're giving it away and you're just like feeling all over the place and not in control of your own emotions and energy and sovereignty, then we're losing you. You're losing you, right? Like, so it's like be passionate, but there is almost like a desperation of, I've got to fix this, I've got to help this, but all you can do is like maintain you and your, because if not, you're only adding to the collective frequency of turmoil and tsunami.
I think it was Ram Dass. I hope I'm not misquoting. I think it was Ram Dass who said, "The only thing I can do for you is heal me." And like that could not be more like that just wraps up this whole year, I think, in one little sentence. Like we cannot control what's happening in the collective. We cannot. And like you said, yes, speak up, do what you need to do, but heal yourself because that will be a ripple effect out to everyone in your life. That's how we can change the world is by looking inward first. So
And
it
and
is,
that all comes back to honestly unconditional love within,
yeah,
like really, because when you are that resentful towards everything else, then that is resentment and anger that you are holding within. And again, I'm not saying be like, oh, I'm total peace and flat,
no,
like
that's
I don't
not
want
it.
you to be
That's
like
not it. Right.
oblivious to what's happening in the world.
You know your causes and what you believe in, do that,
Yeah,
right? But like you said, just don't go so far that you're giving your power away to it. That's all.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just about finding that balance. And I love that you like that imagery of going under the water because to me, like that's such a visceral memory of mine from childhood. And like you
Me
said, being an
too.
adult, but like I think when we get lost this year, just go back to that. Like imagine holding your nose, going under that wave and just feeling it crash above you. You know how it like it almost just like barely kind of moves you when you're under it, but like if you were to stand up, you'd be like knocked over,
Yeah,
right?
right, exactly. Oh, I love it. I love it. I
Yeah,
love it.
that's what this is. So beautiful. How did last month play out for you, Yvonne? We we pulled six cards last month. So,
That
and I
feels
know
about like January, just like like information, information,
so much
information.
information, so much
Um,
overload. There
there
was
were
a
several
line.
times where I felt like this. I felt like I'm I felt so okay. Like I felt great. I felt so abundant and blissful and joyful. And at the same time, I could feel aspects of myself still like grasping for the fear, grasping for the, oh, but what if, but it's like my highest self is so integrated within my body, like it's like that wins. And so it's so interesting, like when the anxious feelings come in or that anxiety or the comes in, it's like I'm so aware of it and I'm just able to be like, okay, show me what you're trying to freak out about, so it becomes such an interesting conversation with myself. It's like I was so aware of the inner peace that I had, as well as the fears and anxiety that my body wanted to try to feed me that I just was not entertaining.
Yep.
It's like I would conversate, I would entertain it, I guess, for like a moment and be like, what is this really about? So it's just really interesting to be in that place of inner peace and allowing it to be and stay there, like it's just funny because it's like, Lord forbid me actually I like have inner peace and like be that happy and joy filled when everything around me is going crazy and people are suffering and there's really bad things that are happening. Who do I think I am maintaining that level of inner peace? Right. So like I felt a lot of navigating through that in this month.
Little tug and pull there, like back and
Yeah.
forth too. Yeah, I love that. It's funny for me, the only card I could remember out of those six that just kept coming to me and coming to me and coming to me was the Eight of Swords. And to refresh your memory, that's the one where the girl in the mirror looks like she's bound and gagged and tied up, but like in real life, she's not. Because I feel like for me, this month was a lot about seeing the ways that like I put my own thoughts on things that actually aren't really that way or don't have to be that way. Like there was a lot of revelations for me about myself and about the ways I hold myself down and the way I see myself and how I think reality is a certain way, but like it's actually not. I have the power to like totally change things and not hold myself back. So it felt like a really empowering month for me,
Yeah.
actually, of kind of finally like seeing some things. And there's a little shame, a little like, ugh, I hate that I've been doing that to myself for so long, you know?
Yeah, right.
But
Yeah.
I can let it go because I'm also like, but now I see it. So,
Right. Exactly. And that's the beauty of now and
right.
time past and
Yeah.
things get to transmute so quickly. Like our body doesn't want to hold on to any of that anymore. And yeah, well, I feel like what you just said and what I like, it's so similar, right? Like
Similar.
I could see like those aspects of myself where they're like, no, 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 no. And it's like, it's okay. We can shine. We can thrive. We can be in this peace. We can be happy. It's okay. We
Yeah.
can, we can be doing all the things. It's safe here.
That's right. I know.
But also one thing that I thought about a lot was, with it being the new year and envisioning new things, like I was really kind of blocked as to, and I'm calling it a blocked as to what I wanted for this year to look like. And then every time I would be like, God, like I don't have anything planned. It's like I would feel spirit just say, you can't even begin to imagine what we have in store for you. And I'm like, okay, fine.
Under
Okay.
that.
And then it really is that whole, oh, that was another thing that I've talked about like in a couple episodes ago was the let go and let God. Like I keep hearing that over and over and over in my mind, just when I'm feeling the anxious energy or like the what, and it's just like let go. And like, I don't know, just feeling that and saying that to myself, let go and let God. It's like I'm taking a deep breath of like, oh yeah, I can let go and just let God. And I love that because there's with that envisioning, like me wanting to have it figured out, me wanting to be able to plan, that's just not who I am.
Mhm.
I am not. I am not that. I mean, I am such a channel of what is needed in that moment. So if I can just keep letting myself be that channel, then nothing can go wrong because I'm going to let go and let God and just trust and have faith that everything that happens is happening
That's
and
right.
it's all in divine orchestration.
Well, and that's so like that tsunami card that we talked about. Like the more you can just let go and surrender to what is, the more it'll be in alignment, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the bottom line.
Yeah. So, I mean, so far, I'm kind of loving 2025. I mean, I know there's like total destruction and upheaval going all around us, but I don't know. I'm kind of here for it.
I'm ready for the changes that we need to make on a collective level. And I think that there's like an acceptance that like it's going to be difficult. It's going to be wild and crazy in the collective this year. But it's that reminder of like the final outcome, right? Like we've got to go through some of this stuff to get to where we need to be. And so I think there's an acceptance there on my part, you know?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I do feel like that is what's happening on a collective level. We're all seeking and really trying to embody that acceptance and what is and the inner peace, right? Like that's what we all want.
Exactly. Well, should we see what's coming up for February?
I am so excited to see what's coming up for February.
Oh, all right. Well, let's set our intentions and protect our space. So as long as you're not driving, I invite you to close your eyes with us, taking a nice deep breath in through the nose, filling that belly all the way with air and exhaling through the mouth. I want you to drop your to-do list. I want you to drop the things that you have to do or that you think you have to do. I want you to let it all go to be inside of this sacred space, this sacred container, as I draw and cast a golden light of protection around all of us throughout all time and space. Asking any lower level energies, including thoughts, feelings, beliefs, or spirits, to be outside of this golden light of protection at this time. And I'm calling in now our way showers, our guides, our angels, loved ones who have passed, and benevolent ancestors, archangels, ascended masters, any beings that are of the highest vibration, and only with our purest of intentions at heart are welcomed into this sacred container. I also invoke now the power of holy fire, Karuna Reiki, so that in simply hearing and receiving these words, we would all receive a cleansing and a clearing of our energy, of anything that doesn't serve us. And in those spaces that have been made empty through this cleansing and release, I ask that we would be filled with the light from the highest of heavens, making us feel whole and complete again, what it means to be holy, what it means to be filled with divinity, while also recognizing our humanity experience here on earth. We set the intention to come seeking guidance for the month of February 2025, asking for any information that is in our highest and greatest good so that we can move to our highest timelines, so that we can utilize time as a tool for ourselves, and so we can flow with what exists, so that we can surrender to the greater plan for each and every one of us, and so that we can let go of resistance in an effort to move into better alignment. We offer up our deepest gratitude to all of those beings who are gathered here today in our honor. And so it is.
So beautiful.
Thank you. Just moving the cards around here. We're going back to my deck. We might pull a tarot at the end just to see what the tarot has to say. But we are going to use the Inner Compass Oracle for this month's cards. And as always, I'm pulling 3. Okay, I like this combo. I like this little mix of things. This is nice. So the first card that came up is my Lapis Lazuli card. So something interesting about crystals. I just want to share this quickly. When I first started learning about crystals, I had a podcast. I had my own podcast. It was called the Soul Rising Podcast. And I made a connection with Ashley Levy, who is a crystal book author. She's an incredible resource on crystals. And I interviewed her and I asked her, I was like, where does the information about crystals come from? Like, who says that lapis lazuli helps us connect to the divine or that black tourmaline is like a protector crystal? Like, where did that come from? And she was like, that's literally just humans' experiences with the crystals that we have tracked over time. She's like, I wrote all of my crystal books based on how I feel when I hold a crystal, what comes up for me, what's happening in my life. She's like, that's how I did it. And over time, we kind of saw patterns of, oh, you feel this way when you use black tourmaline. I feel that way too, or whatever. And that's how things have become universally accepted. And I was like, that just blew my mind. Like, because I'm like, well, okay,
It makes perfect sense, actually.
makes perfect sense. So I did that with the crystals in my deck. There are 3 crystals in this deck. When I use lapis lazuli, like when I hold it, when I'm wearing it, when it's around me, I feel comforted and protected when I'm going through hard things. Like something about it reminds me that there's so much more to the picture. And I have this piece of really high quality lapis lazuli that was really expensive and it's like this big. It's like so little. But when I hold it in my hand, it's so clear. Like it looks like a deep, deep blue night sky with like that gold pyrite in it that looks like stars. And it reminds me like I'm literally holding the night sky in my palm. So it's like the heavens are reflected down here. I am reflected up there. And it just like that comforts me when things are difficult. Like there's just this reminder that like there's so much more to the picture. We are so divinely protected. And so that's what lapis lazuli does for me. So that's what I wrote this card about is like when you're going through a hard time, find the things that bring you comfort. Like, why is it okay for children to suck their thumb or have their blankie and to have their comfort, but as adults, we're supposed to just like somehow make it through? Like, I'm not telling you to go suck your finger or like,
Yeah.
you know, but like, what gives you deep comfort? What makes you feel better and like held? Go seek that out. Like, this card is like reminding you, like, go seek out the comfort, take care of yourself, nourish yourself. Um, And if wearing some lapis lazuli or pulling it out or whatever is like a little talisman to remind you to like comfort yourself, we don't receive that as adults as much as we really need, I think. Um, and so maybe it's about being around someone who really makes you feel safe and grounded and comfortable, like go to them. Or maybe it is like snuggling up with your favorite stuff in bed or having like a nice chai latte or a cup of cacao, like whatever it is, like give yourself some comfort when you're going through hard times. So that was the first card that came up for us. I think that's
That's
interesting.
beautiful. And I really love that, especially, with this February being the month of love, like, so it's just how can we care for and nurture and love on ourselves deeper?
Yeah. Yeah. Like
And my
really,
wheels are turning, like I'm
yeah.
trying to think, like the first thing that came to my mind was chicken soup. Like I'm obsessed with making homemade chicken soup and my family is so over it, but I make a big pot of it every week in the wintertime. And this year especially, like I just was like, okay, it's soup season. So I literally make a big pot of chicken soup, homemade, but it's like the broth that my body just craves and it's homemade and there's something just like about cooking a chicken, and just like tearing it apart and then like eating, I don't know, and then sipping on the broth. It just feels like so cute and cozy to me.
So nice. I love that. I've been making lentil soup a lot this winter. It's like my husband and my favorite soup. So yeah, like soup, like this is just
Yeah.
it's so great. Or it could be something else like, I know your hot tub is like really comforting to you. Like
Yes. Yeah.
and then get in a cozy bath, like if you don't have a hot tub at your house, but like get in a nice hot shower, or cozy bath and like snuggle. Like that feels very comforting and warming to me too. So
And allowing yourself to go for a long walk outside or, without having to rush back and get back to your to-do list or something, like really allowing yourself to enjoy that time outside, right? Like if that's really what you want, because I feel like that's part of the thing. It's like, oh, we can't do that because I'm so busy doing these other things. And
mhm.
so that's beautiful. And that's such a beautiful card too.
Thank you. This, by the way, the mountains in the background are actually photos of crystals that my artist took. She went to a crystal store and took pictures and then turned them into a mountain range.
Well,
So,
and I love it that it's actually reflects as a pyramid in the water.
right? She did that
Yeah.
on purpose too. We thought
Yeah,
that was
that's
really cool.
beautiful.
Yeah, she did
Oh,
a good
so good.
job. Yeah, I love that. Okay, so that's beautiful. And then this is sort of in a similar vein. Um, I'm going to read this one to you guys. This
Oh, we
is the
haven't pulled that
sun
card.
card.
Like,
I know. If we have, it's been a long time.
wow.
Let me go to it. Okay, so this is the sunrise card, and I want to read this one to you. It says, after a long dark night, the sun begins to rise above the horizon. Glorious colors fill the sky, offering renewed hope and purpose. Sunrises signal the beginning of a new day, and by drawing this card, you are also being offered a fresh start. Perhaps you've been feeling lost recently or unsure of your significance in the greater scheme of life. You may be working tirelessly on something with seemingly little to show for it. Frustration might be setting in. When you feel shaken and uncertain, your compass calls you back to the reminder that you are always worthy of a fresh start, no matter what. You can choose with each new day to begin again. It isn't necessary to wait until Monday, the start of the month, or some other arbitrary meaning. You can claim it now. To help you feel the energy of this clean slate, it might be helpful to connect with an actual sunrise. Schedule some time to watch a sunrise in person, either from your own living space or out in nature. And if this isn't possible, simply picture one in your mind's eye or look at the artwork on this card. Allow the visual of the soothing colors and the gentle quiet of the morning to envelop you in a feeling of peace. Know that this moment marks a new beginning for you and the opportunity to see your entire life through a lens of faith. You will be acknowledged for your efforts and you will receive clarity in due time. Everything will fall into place. Keep your focus on continuing to show up each day, trusting the divine plan happening behind the scenes. And the reminder is you are always deserving of a fresh start.
Mhm. Wow, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
So beautiful. And I just love the imagery of her standing there with her arms out and just, which makes me think of the sun codes that I'm always so obsessed with, and it's hard for me to explain because I don't know where, it's just like this natural thing that my body just goes and seeks the early morning sun. So that, and I just soak it in and I just receive it. It feels like God codes to me that are just like beaming into my skin and my heart. And it feels like it is opening my receivership, because I'm receiving that. And if I can receive that, then I can receive anything, right? Because I'm taking the time to receive. I'm intentionally seeking the sun. So it's just, I think that again, especially with warmer weather coming and spring coming, like I mean, I get out there even when it's freezing cold, right? Like I almost think it's even more potent sometimes in the middle of winter. But with it not being so cold now, maybe you can go out and just really go find that early morning sunrise and just let the sun, because it's the early morning codes that really are the most potent.
I had that thought as soon as I flipped this card over. I was like, oh, Vaughn's sun codes. Like, because this is the sunrise. I mean, it's literally about the morning, a fresh start, a new beginning. And there is, I think, a certain type of sun code that we get in the morning versus like later in the afternoon, or you know what I mean? Like, this is the energy of like a clean slate, a fresh start, a deep feeling of peace, and like everything's okay. And like, you can drop whatever happened yesterday, you can drop whatever happened 2 minutes ago, and like, just be here in this moment. I feel like both of these first two cards are about a lot of intentionality and a lot of like not rushing and being conscious of what you need and giving yourself that fresh start and like that comfort and that peace. Like this is very much being intentional and a little slower. Who knows how the rest of your day will go, but like, can you start it out with some comfort and some peace for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, I love that. Because especially like for me, February is a super busy month. I've just got a lot of travel. I've got my retreat. I've got it's a busy month. And I'm, I know I trust myself at this point to be able to navigate through the busyness and still embrace the stillness, right? And it's just really fun to be able to um, know that everything's going to be okay, because there's always going to be a new day. And it's always going to be up to me of how I receive that new day and how I navigate through that new day.
Yeah, and I think that being intentional in how you start the day is when it's what's going to give you the fuel to get through any of the stuff, the busyness that we're doing, right? Like this is refilling your own cup in a very, very intentional way. Maybe a way you haven't done before, be open to trying something different. So I love that these two cards came out off the bat. They feel very relevant and very kind towards
Yes,
ourselves, right?
that's kind feels good.
Kind does feel good. And now the third card is gonna slap you in the face. So
Okay, perfect.
that's okay.
That would be weird if we didn't have a slap in the face kind of card for 2025. So,
Yeah, of course. I was like, oh wow, this is so soft and nice. And the third card came and I was like, okay, well, we do need something, to like push us. So this is the spider web card, and I'm going to read you this one too. This is card number 34, in case you're into numbers. I forgot to tell you guys the previous numbers. The sunrise card was 12, and lapis lazuli is 16. So 34 is our spider web card. Okay, this says, a spider spins her silken web, glistening with dew in the early morning light. Once again, early morning, there's something here about the morning time. The rising sun and setting moon hang together in the sky, illuminating a truth that is woven in this web. The spiderweb card points out that there is something you're holding on to, which is in turn holding you back. You are desperately desiring this one thing, and it is spinning itself into a sticky web. Moving your thoughts away from this particular thing is proving to be difficult because you want it so deeply. It's time to release your attachment to whatever this is. Know that if it is meant for you, It will happen, but force will not yield the results that you truly desire. I want to read that to you again. Know that if it's meant for you, it will happen, but force will not yield the results you truly desire. Doing so could lead to an opportunity appearing in a way that's not favorable or at a time that would not be advantageous for you. Spider webs are ancient symbols of creation. You are creating your own current experience. Remember that you are a dynamic force and there are multiple ways to achieve a goal. So, right now, you might be laser focused on a singular path or thing that you think you have to have in order to achieve. Focus on releasing your expectations. Let go of what you thought your own web would look like, how it would arrive in your life, and your vision of the future. Spend time expressing gratitude for everything you currently have, which will let the universe know that you're ready for even more abundance. In this situation, your inner compass is asking you to trust that everything you desire will come to you when and if it is for your highest good. Your job is to be present in this moment, experiencing full gratitude for what you already have. And the reminder is release yourself from the web of attachment and lean into trust.
Hmm. Hello, let go, let God.
Hello, let go, let God.
Oh, wow. What a spread.
Yeah,
I mean, those are beautifully tied together. Oh my goodness.
they really are, aren't they?
Wow.
They really, really are. And I wrote this card like from a very deeply personal place of all these cards are things that I've gone through and experienced. But like this one was like, I wrote this like almost to myself when I want something so bad and I want it to work out so bad. And it's like sometimes I'm like pushing and forcing it because I want it so badly. And like this card is just this reminder, like you're spinning your own web, like you're getting yourself stuck in this thing because you think it has to happen a certain way, you know? Like let go and let God, like you said, just release it. And the way that you release it, I think, is you just be present in every single day and take care of yourself and like focus on that, right? Instead of whatever this thing is that you really, really desire. And if it's going to come to you, it'll come to you.
Oh, so beautiful.
Mhm.
That's so beautiful. As you were talking, as you were reading that beautiful card, I was like, what? I'm trying to like really think, and I think that's probably what this month will reveal to me, like what I'm still trying to control, what I'm still, weaving on some subconscious part of me that is still like trying to control, right?
Mhm.
So I'm so curious to see how that unfolds because like I didn't have like a oh God, that's the thing. You know how, sometimes it'll just hit you and you're like, I know
Yeah.
that's the thing. I think mine is probably so subconscious, like in my deep layers of conditioned belief that is so interwoven within me
Mhm.
that that is what is ready to be really explored. And so that's fun because I've been so excited and curious to go deeper into the subconscious and just kind of see. So now I'm like really wanting to dive in a little bit more and see, okay, what's there?
Yeah. And if anyone listening is like, well, how do I find that out? I mean, you go into meditation, just go into some quiet and some stillness and ask to be shown. And it may not come up in that meditation, but you're making that request. And so it'll come up in your life, like you'll
Yeah,
see.
you be aware of what keeps, like pinging,
Coming up.
right?
Yes.
Like things are going to keep showing up because it's like after like the third time you're going to be like, oh, this keeps showing up. I keep thinking about this or, I keep hearing about this. And it's like, that's the thing, right? Like that's the thing because it's rising up within you to witness and see so that you can let it go.
Yes. Notice the things this month that just keep coming up in your head, coming up in your head, coming up in your head, because that is what you're ruminating on. That's the web that you're weaving, right? That's the thing you're getting yourself kind of stuck in. It's your thoughts. This card is very much about our thoughts. Like, what am I so focused on, And how can I like have some healthy detachment and kind of step back and just trust that it's all going to work itself out.
Beautiful.
How interesting that like the early morning, I mean, even this card like talks about that. I have like the sun rising here in the card and the moon is still out, that like liminal time. And then we have the sunrise card, it's just so interesting to me. So there truly is something about being very intentional in those early morning hours. I think that will really, really help us. Like if you can get up a little earlier and like make a little time to journal or go outside and do these things, I think it's going to really serve us this month. Really,
Yeah.
really serve.
Yeah, that feels really good.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, because I've been called to like wake up earlier and just because I do, especially this month, have a lot of busyness, and my self-care practice is so important. And I notice that, when I'm busy, I don't have time to sit with myself or to move my body like I desire to or get the fresh air like I desire. Um, and so just really making that a priority is going to be very important, and that does, you need to have more of a longer day to be able to get it all in. And so that takes sometimes getting up. Unless, of course, part of your self-care is to actually sleep in, and then sleep in. Maybe that's it too, allow yourself to get some deeper rest
Yeah. I think
rather
that
than setting an alarm and being like, I gotta get up and do this.
Yes. I think this goes back to the deep ocean card that we were talking about in the very beginning, where like, going underwater, getting away from the chaos. I think at the end of the day, the big message here is like, just be intentional about some time for yourself throughout this month, right? Like, take care of yourself, nurture yourself through the food that you're eating, the rituals that you have. It doesn't have to be elaborate or huge, but just be intentional somehow, some way, I
Yeah.
think is the big message here.
Beautiful. I wanted to ask you when you did the opening prayer, you said a new word when you said, I invoke holy fire, and then you said like,
Corona, Ricky.
yeah, Karuna. What's that?
Oh, yeah. Well, so if I haven't said it in the last couple of episodes, then that was like a slip of tongue and habit. But I got trained several months ago in the very highest level of Holy Fire Reiki, which is called Karuna.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm at the top of the top of the top of the Holy Fire chain. There's nowhere else for me to go. So the very top, there's master, there's levels 1 and 2, there's master, and then there's Karuna master. And so I was trained in that. So I've reached the top of my Holy Fire Reiki.
Oh my gosh. So like for you in that training and for that attunement, right? Like how has it affected you? How do you feel different? Like how is it navigating through your life right now?
I love that question. So the Karuna level of Holy Fire Reiki is very, very focused on the voice and on communication and really up-leveling the way you speak. I
Okay.
do feel that integration happening.
Absolutely. I feel that and see that and hear that
Thank
from
you.
you. I definitely, because you are so much more, I see you, right? Like I see so much more of you now, and it makes me so happy every time. In fact, you know what? We just had a voice conversation the other day about social media and about, because when we're creating and sharing from our heart to support others, like it's healing for us to get what we want to say out and to serve in that way. But when it lands on deaf ears, it's very disappointing and disheartening. And I messaged you and I was like, girl, I see you. Like you are creating so many things. I was like, but I don't want to miss what you are creating. So I was like, will you make sure that you tag me or send it to me in a post so I can support you and comment and share it and I like it and all those good things. And then you're like, yes, of course you do the same thing. And I just feel like, you know, to those of you listening, whether you are a consumer or a creator, let's let's do this together, like if you are in our world, and you see us and you hear us and you see our efforts and you agree with our efforts and you want to share the light that we put out, will you please share and like or love the love that we put out because it's hard. Like it makes me very often not want to create because it's like what does it even matter? Like why am I even doing this? Right. Like sometimes because, and then it's like, let's not forget that this is social media, right? Like social, it's social. We are creating community. We are being social on a media outlet, right? So let's remember what the freak social media is and let it be fun again. Like it's gotten so like divisional, but if we can just kind of maybe bring some of the fun back into it and bring the community aspect back into it. Like I like when someone comments on anything that I create, I'm like, oh my God, they comment, they see
Yeah,
me, they like me. Oh my God, thank you. Or and then oh my God, if someone shares something that I did, I'm like, I'm dead. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
same.
You know, like it takes literally it could take 5 seconds to press the share button and tag us and just be like, love this message, or this girl, I see you, can you see her too, or like, I don't know, I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, and I feel like this goes along with being intentional. Like something I'm really trying to do with social media this year more is like less just scrolling and more interacting with the things that I'm seeing. Like I want to let you know that I enjoy this, that you're doing a good job rather than just on to the next, mindless consumption. Like if
Yeah.
I'm going to be on social media, I would rather, like you said, be social and connected and like a thing, right? Rather than this doom scroll suck of my time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Oh, and it's easy, man.
Easy.
Oh my God. It will take you down and it will suck you in and it will be. And I'm just like, where the hell did, especially when I'm on the potty, I know that that's like, I'm just gonna think my dogs know, no, I think my dogs know that that is like my time where I do that. And they're like, Mom, I'm Lucy will come in and like move my hand. And she like, I can just hear her say, put that phone down. And I'm like, okay, so I'll put my phone down. I'm like, you're right. And I'll just love on her and I'll be like, okay, okay. And then I've finished my business and I'm like off the potty, right? Like, thank you, dogs, for
Thank
supporting me in this.
Yes, for
But
reminding.
that's that I could either choose to ignore them or I'd be like, okay, you're right, damn it. Like I was just scrolling and doing nothing.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. And can I go back to the Reiki thing for just a second? Because I
Yeah.
don't think I want to tell everyone listening that, like, if you are interested in Reiki as a way to just up level your energy, like I do, to like up level my voice, to up level my power, I'm your Reiki girl. Like, I will teach you because I am not someone who uses Reiki as like a hands-on modality. I'm not like doing sessions with Reiki. I use it for my own personal evolution and growth. And so, if that is what you are interested in, then I'm your girl. I'm not going to teach you how to be a Reiki. Like, I mean, you can if you want to go out and be a Reiki practitioner, I'll give you the tools to do that, but I'm here to up level you. And so I teach all my Reiki privately. I never have had to like advertise it. People reach out to me. I'm training somebody next weekend. So if you're interested, I totally cater it to you. Like it's 4 hours for each like level and we can talk about it, but I can break that down into 4 1-hour sessions or 2 2 hours, or we can knock it all out in four. And I do it however you want to do it. So
Is it best to do it one-on-one like that or in a group? Have you
I
done a group?
I have done group, but I personally really enjoy the one-on-one because then I can cater it to exactly what your goals are with the Reiki and how you want to experience it and what you want to do. The practice with someone else is up to you then when it's one-on-one. Like that's on you to go out and practice and do those things. But I give you exactly what you need during our training. So
Yeah, because I will say that you don't, it's not like you're saying, come to me for an energy healing, which
I don't
I
do it.
know I've talked about this a lot, right? Like my theory around being Reiki attuned and the the energy around that because I feel like so many people when they have healing gifts within themselves and they're like going, well, I guess I if I want to be an energy healer, I need to go get Reiki certified, right? And so that I can then be an energy healer. And it's like, but you already are an energy healer. Like you have your own frequency. But I think what I love about what you do is you're activating the frequency within,
Yep.
kind of like holy fire, like with my holy breath, right? Like I'm activating that frequency within you that is your own healer. And I feel like that's why I'm so resonant with you and the way that you speak of Reiki, because it feels so much more than an attunement to this is how you're going to heal others. It's like this is an activation of your own healing energy.
Well, I love that you say that, Vaughn, because I feel like you're so aligned with Holy Fire Reiki and you don't even realize it. Because in Holy Fire Reiki, we don't call it an attunement, we call it an ignition. It's an
Oh, okay.
igniting of the fire within you. And
Okay.
sometimes I use the word attunement because that's what people know and associate. But once
Yeah.
I get you into the training, I'm like, it's not an attunement, babe. We are
Right.
igniting this within you.
Yeah, but that's already within you. Yeah. I know because I mean, obviously, holy, I'm just all that's one of that's my favorite words. I could hear holy and
Yeah.
I'm just like, so whenever you say, I was like, there's a holy fire Reiki, what? Because that was the only time I had ever heard a Reiki that I would be remotely interested in studying. But I think you're right. I mean, I think that I already am ignited in holy fire Reiki. And that's why, the work that we do together is so powerful and the conversations that we had, because we're so ignited together. So I love that. Like if you are, I mean, you're such an amazing teacher and space holder and healer. Um, and teacher. I mean, like, I think it's really, I mean, you are such an incredible teacher. So, I'm so glad that you came back to that to be able to share that because, you know, that is an ignition that needs to be cranked up, right?
Yeah. And one other little thing, if anyone listening is like, well, what's the difference between regular Reiki and Holy Fire Reiki? Holy Fire Reiki is a branch of Reiki that is in alignment with like some Christian religious figures as well as other ascended masters. So traditional Usui Reiki doesn't necessarily have that connection. This like there is the energy of Jesus and Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene infused in this branch of Reiki. And so if you are coming from religion, kind of transmitting yourself into spirituality, this is such a great thing to do. Like it is so aligned with
Oh
that.
my gosh. That's the difference, right?
Different.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That feels so good.
It does.
Yeah,
It
that
does.
feels very comfortable and like safe. I don't know. It
That's
feels and
safe.
divine, right? It feels like what's already within us that it awakens that divinity within of remembrance.
Yeah. And Jesus did this. He was a hands-on healer. He used Reiki energy. It's just that the Japanese coined that term, but this has been around for forever, since the beginning of time. Like this is just the God connection that we have, and it just reinforces that. So,
Now more than ever, we are just being called to connect deeper to the the God codes within, and to remember our divinity, that it is not outside of us, it is within us. And when we can allow that unconditional love in remembrance and ignition of that remembrance and being, but then it goes back to that, like, how dare I be that? Like, how dare I be this holy version of myself, this beautiful whole holy version of myself. And that's the work, right? Like that is the journey of this life, to be able to get to be that version of ourselves. And that is the new world that we are creating, is when we can allow that version of us to be. And if we can all be that, then but we're igniting each other. And so that's why it's so important for you to do the work. And that creates the ripple effect, and that creates the light workers, that will lighten up this world, and and let that light shine so bright that it literally can like bust through the shadows, the dark, just that negative agenda that has been so forced upon us. And we're breaking the cycles. We are in it right now. And I got a retreat coming up in 3 weeks, people. So if this is the work that we do at my retreats, like we are we are purging, we are moving through, and at the same time, we are letting in more light. We are letting go to let in. We are opening our hearts to receive more of the divine abundance that is our birthright. So it is a thing where we are healing, we are letting go while simultaneously letting in more light, more unconditional love, more God love. And that is the receiving energy. We got to be open to receive it, y'all. And that's why I'm so passionate about the divine feminine, because that is our receivership. That is our receiving energy. So we have to heal that energy so she can move through us, open us up, nurture that masculine energy so that we feel safe to go about and serve on that level of creative energy that is pulsing through us. We are creating a healthy balance within, a healthy flow within so that we can give and receive, give and receive, give and receive, give and receive. And it just gets bigger and bigger and greater and greater and grander and grander. And you are allowed for it to be as big, like expansive than your little mind could ever imagine. This is what we're here for, y'all.
Mic drop. You just brought it all back around.
I love you so much. I just always want to like squeeze through this Zoom and just like kiss your cute little cheeks and just, I just love you so much.
I love you too, Vaughn.
Well, this is fun. I'm always so grateful for this conversation and for our energy and for those of you that listen and contribute. If you listen to this and you love it and you feel ignited and excited and it hits your soul, you are more than welcome to share it. You
Mhm.
are more than welcome to send us a message and say, oh my gosh, that conversation really lit me up. Thank you. Like it
Yeah.
means so much to us to know that it means so much to us to know that you actually listened and again, like I listen to so many podcasts and YouTubes where I'm like, wow, that was amazing. And I don't do anything. I don't like send them a message or whatever, But it's like I'm gonna try to start doing that. I'm really intentionally wanting to be more interactive with people that I really respect and appreciate their efforts and their light and all that stuff. So
Me.
let's do this.
Let's do it. Let's be more intentional, more present.
Yes.
But I
All
love
right. Well, thanks everyone for your time and for being here today. And thank you, Dana, for everything. Love you so much.
it.
Bye.